Welcome to the Performance Portfolio Podcast with Coop and Coop. Greg Cooper is the owner of Cooper Performance Coaching and lead instructor at Kodokwai Judo Club in Edmonton, Alberta. He is on the lifelong pursuit of helping others increase their performance. Cooper Allen is a top financial advisor from Barrie, Ontario, whose focus is empowering everyday families with advice, leadership, and tools that we should have been given in school. Together, they bridge the gap between performance and finance to help you create your own robust performance portfolio. With that, let's get into today's episode.
Coop, over the last couple of weeks, we've had a couple unbelievable guests on from your network, Josh and Nabi. Today, we're going to talk about the impact they've had on us and just the last couple of weeks spent with them. So, what's your first thoughts on just the impact and the brevity of what these guys are doing?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I look forward to sharing with our listeners today just our debrief from the past two episodes. If you haven't seen them, definitely go back and check them out. They brought their A game for sure. Josh and Nabi both. And, it's had Greg and I reflect a lot just on the power of building a network, the power of being involved with good people. And, the biggest thing that stood out to me, and I think there's a few different directions we'll go today as we debrief, but I think with the state society's in, people just need more people in their life to tell the truth. And what I love about having Josh and Nabi in my personal network is they don't tell me what I want to hear, they tell me what I need to hear. And I said it on the podcast with Nabi, I said most people come on to their personal development journey and they're trying to find the secret. What's the one thing? Greg, can you give me the one thing? Josh, can you give me the one thing? Nabi, can you give me the one thing? But it's not one thing. It's how can I 180 my mindset, unlearn a lot of the things that have got me to where I am today and have maybe held me back from where I want to be in the future, because the person you are today is not going to be the person that achieves the goals and dreams that you have in the future. So how can I make adjustments to my mindset to reflect those that are closer to the person I want to be than where I am today? And that was a big takeaway for me, is just what are some mental tweaks that Josh and Nabi talked about that some were reminders for me and some was brand new, but either way, what could I implement? Not necessarily in terms of like the one thing that's going to change my life, but just kind of some subtle ways of thinking and a mindset that can move me closer to the man that I want to be. So that's my first kind of immediate thought is I love that they're here to tell the truth. I love that they've done it with grace. They've done it with grit. I've gone through different points of their career where they've done it with one without the other and have done it with both at various occasions. And regardless of whether they did it with grace or grit or both, the end of it has always been impact and making a difference. So that's, I'd say, at least my initial thoughts. What about you?
Love that, Coop. Yeah, mine are very similar. But the first initial thought, and this happened with both Josh and Nabi, as soon as we were done with those podcasts, I'm like, Coop, man, thank you. Like just the gratitude I feel for like the sharing of our networks and having my own circle that brings that, where it's like the people that I'm surrounding myself with are rock stars and the people that they're surrounding themselves with are rock stars. And it's just this culture and this group of men, women that are out there successful in their own right and have all gone through a different journey, and we can all pull from that. So just yeah, reinstilled the gratitude I have for guys like you, Coop, in my network that bring that to the table. Like that is who I want to be at the kitchen table with. So that was number one. And number two, specifically with Josh and Nabi, like again, there isn't a magic bullet. If there was a magic bullet answer for any problem out there, guys like us, Nabi, Josh, we wouldn't exist. Like here's the magic bullet. Everybody's happy go lucky. But they all had their moments of turmoil, of difficulty, of potentially rock bottom, and they came out of it, right? Everybody goes through a journey of life and nobody comes out unscathed. That doesn't mean everybody's going to hit rock bottom or go through big problems, but everybody will get some bad times in their life, and that's okay. You need to embrace that, look forward, and keep moving. So just to see two other guys, again, very successful in their own rights, that have gone through that journey and are still in their journey, but have come out the other side, and now they're able to share their emotional intelligence with the world. They're able to share their financial success with their families, and they're able to share their knowledge and experience with everybody now. Like Josh has his book out, The Carrier's Code, which everybody should go get. Mine is on the way. I just ordered it, so I'm super pumped to get that. But yeah, just overall, two rock star guys that could have talked to for the whole day.
100%. I think that's a great call to action to start for our listeners too. If you've found that maybe in the past you haven't been very braggadocious about the people in your life, I find it hard to believe that that's because all the people in your life suck. I think there is an element of just needing to audit your network better. And if there's someone that's doing some cool stuff, then put them on a pedestal, because we're so quick to get online and follow athletes and influencers and artists and things like that. But what about the people within our own network that are building businesses and charities and making a difference in the community, or showing up, being a good mom, being a good dad? Let's put those people on a pedestal. Let's go, yeah, Greg, instead of saying Greg's doing some fitness thing, it's no, Greg's a rock star in the performance world. And if you like the idea of personal development and bettering yourself in any area, mental, physical, spiritual, anything, let's get you connected with Greg. Let's get you connected with Josh. If you anything related to entrepreneurship, finance, get you connected to Nabi, get you connected with Coop, and just start hyping up your friends the same way you'd hype up going to the bar on the weekend, or going to a concert, or watching the Jays. And it's amazing to me how our biggest advocates can be strangers on the internet, and the people who should be having our backs are the ones who sit there and remain quiet for some reason. They'll like your post, but they won't, or they'll watch your stories, but aren't out there actively kind of preaching the good word. So I'd say that's my first call to action, is just audit your network. And I guarantee you've got people like those guys in your network. And Greg, you'd mentioned that off air as well. So I'd be curious to hear your take on that.
Yeah. I love that you added being a good mom and dad in there too. Because before I give my feedback there, I want to shout out one of my really close friends in school who isn't, in the business world making millions. He's going to in a different way. He's not a famous hockey player, baseball player, but my bro Mateus is in Berkeley, UC Davis, doing his PhD in particle physics. And every time I talk to him, he explains to me what he's doing. And my simple performance coach brain is just like, dude, that's incredible. You're doing some Einstein stuff, like Oppenheimer. And that's not me blowing it out of proportion, because he is doing some crazy stuff. And it's incredible. Like, he's one of like 5 people doing that program right now. He got to do his master's in Copenhagen, Denmark, on the CERN collider. It's the biggest scientific project in the world. Like, I think that's so freaking cool. So everybody has people in their network that do things like that, that are, the nerd of the group or whatever. But that's still incredible. Most people don't have the capacity to do these things. So don't sell your friends short. And that brings me to my comments on the network and auditing it, Cooper, as you said. A couple episodes, or it's just something we talk about all the time. We talk about the lazy, hey, how are you, man? And everybody goes, good, good, when we're not good. But the word friendship has become quite lazy as well. I believe, and I'll speak for me, I know I have more acquaintances than friends. And I say that because my true friends will talk about my accomplishments more than they talk about theirs, because I talk about their accomplishments more than they talk about theirs. But the acquaintances, the people that watch and hit like, and maybe don't even hit like, they just watch on Instagram, Facebook, they'll wish you a happy birthday on Facebook because it told them to. They don't care. They're not friends. They're acquaintances. And I'm going to sound like a dick when I say that, but it's true. Go through your phone contacts, and in the 700 to 800 numbers you've acquired over X amount of years since high school, university. How many of those do you talk to? I have 4 people pinned to the top of my messages. Those are the 4 people I talk to the most because they're the ones that care. So yeah, auditing your network is important because if it isn't fulfilling and you can't say it's full of rock stars, you got to change the table, change your environment.
100%. And I hope people don't hear that the wrong way as well, because it would be easy to say,
Some
Greg,
will.
yeah. And they say, Greg, you don't get it though. I'm busy. I don't have time to be a good friend. And it's just it's not about time or not time. I'm not saying you gotta keep a Snapchat streak going 365 days a year. Uh, it's just when you have the time to catch up with them, what do you talk about? Like, do you actually invest in them and in their life? And there's people that I've never really been friends with that are distant acquaintances in my network from previous life that if I'm kind of doing a brain break and scrolling and I see that they're traveling somewhere and doing something cool, I'm going to check in for 2 reasons. One, because I'm curious. I actually genuinely want to know, hey, did that travel reshape your experience on how you see the world? How was that? But also part of it is because I know they're out living this really sweet life right now and they want to share it with people. And the people in their life that they thought would care just don't. The people going through mental health battles that are looking for their friends and their family to care are showing every day that they don't. And it's not a frequency thing, a quantity thing. It's a quality. It's a be interested, not interesting. It's there's a huge difference between, hey Greg, how are you? Versus, hey Greg, was just thinking about you, brother. Like friend to friend, man to man. You good? That's totally, you said the same thing. One is default, one is care. And you don't have to do that once a week. And if you did that to me once a week, it would almost be a little bit weird. And like, hey, you kind of want to know too much about my life. This is strange. But if you notice something a little bit off, then connect. And the only way you notice something a little bit off is if you occasionally take the time to pay attention. And uh, yeah, I get the busy piece. I've got twin girls. I'm running a business. Life's busy, uh, but the busiest people get the most stuff done, and those who care take the time.
Mhm. Yeah, and looking back at our conversations with Josh and Nabi, when Josh was going through that business battle and he was in court and there was lots of money on the table, but more importantly, there was reputation on the table. He said you got to choose your heart. He could have walked away and sat on the pile of money because he was in that position to leave like that. But he chose the hard option because he wanted to show his kids and his wife and the people around him that you got to do the right thing, even when it is sometimes the most difficult thing. So there's an example. And like when he told that story, I was awestruck. I'm like, wow, there's a guy that had the easy opt out and didn't choose it based on character, which to me is huge. And then Nabi, when he was working 2 jobs in the morning, working at Orange Theory, he could have chose to be that employee that just punched a clock, showed up at the desk, hey, whatever, let people walk by. But he was energetic. He was happy to be there. He was, good morning, good morning. He probably knew everybody's name. He knew which bike or which station they used. He knew all of that, 100%. And because of that, they went, kid, what are you doing here? So maybe at that point, and I don't think we really got into this with Nabi, and maybe Coop, you would maybe know more. He didn't have that crazy network, but because he was putting himself out there and he was energetic and he was lively and he smiled, these people that were more successful than him and further along in their journey went, kid, what are you doing here? Like, you need to find a new path. And they gave him some connections and they started helping him. So, what I just said 5 minutes ago, if you were like, man, Greg, you're a dick, maybe, but change the way you position yourself in the world, and then your network will start building, even if you have nobody right now. Nabi did it. Josh did it at one point. We all did it at one point. Have the confidence of a 4-year-old in a Batman t shirt the first day of kindergarten. Do that.
I love that. That's awesome. And I would challenge the listener to think about this concept is how did we get to a point in society where people telling the truth became the jerks? Because the fact that Greg even needs to frame that I might sound like a jerk in saying this for telling the truth, when the reality is that the basically what he is saying, what Josh said, what Nabi said, if you can read between the lines, is kind of Ed Milet's leadership lesson of when you're feeling helpless, get helpful. Or how to win friends and influence people, be interested, not interesting, and you think of things like that. Those are theories that you should not be considered a jerk for promoting those theories. In fact, you should be considered a great friend, a great leader, a great community builder for promoting those things. So if you hear that and you go, man, this guy's a jerk for telling me the truth, instead of, man, I'm so grateful I have people in my life that care enough about me to tell me the truth, then that right there should be a first sign that some things need to change. Because that's where we're at in society right now is so many people are like, please don't tell me the truth, but if you have to, find a way to parachute it so my feelings don't get hurt. Whereas real friends, real people who want to see you win, they're not thinking about how do you parachute it. They're thinking about how can I help you see you're trying to climb a mountain right now, and how can I help you see what your next phase in the mountain is so you don't die on the side of it. And then we wonder, in the absence of truth, why there's so many issues around mental health and fulfillment and relationships. And uh, to your point off air, Greg, talking about how if most people took Josh's test, they probably would rank the lowest in the human connection categories in terms of internal and relationships. And um, if you haven't taken that, by the way, I would highly recommend doing it kind of as an aside. But it just is crazy to me that so many people that don't even have mental illness, but are just dealing with stuff related to mental health, which everybody deals with. They're so committed to playing the victim and playing the poor me that they don't seek out opportunities for the people that are actually there from them, because it's the all about them show. It's the me first. I don't want to go there because of my mental health. It's like, well, you realize by showing up for other people, they were actually really looking forward to seeing you, really looking forward to connecting with you, would at some point hype you up if you hyped them up. I, pouring in other people is the quickest way to get your bucket filled back up. And that the reason that you're sitting there having a lot of the mental health and fulfillment and purpose issues that you're having is that you haven't cultivated a network and poured in other people and taken opportunities to shake some hands with some people who truly genuinely care. And the acquaintances that you have that are trying to care, you're like, oh, it's weird because Greg's just an acquaintance of mine. He's not like my high school buddy or my elementary school buddy, so I'm going to push him away. No, no, no. How about instead of judging relationships based on longevity, you judge them based on value and based on care. And instead of seeing a post that Josh puts on Facebook and goes, I'm going to block this guy or unlike it or unfollow it or whatever because it makes me feel uncomfortable, you go, man, I'm so grateful that this guy's putting himself out there and giving me this perspective and teaching me things that should have been taught in school that I never got taught. And man, I just like when I see, I don't know about you, Greg, when I see people like that, even if when people make me uncomfortable, I run towards them, not away from them. I don't know, do you feel the same way?
I love a challenge, right? Like those are the people I love the most. Like I want somebody who thinks differently than me. I want somebody who makes me go, huh, am I really doing it as good as I could right now? So yeah, I'm with you there, Coop. Like, yeah, you need the like-minded people around you, but you need the vastly different people around you. This is why Coop and I are friends. We're both. We have a lot of similarities, but we think so vastly different too. And that's why it's always an engaging conversation, even if it's just a quick, five text convo. There's something interesting there. And yeah, those people should be welcome in your life. Now, if they make you uncomfortable because they are so vulgar and on the other side, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the people that challenge you to step outside of your comfort zone, to think differently, to do the scary things that if you did, what's the best that could happen? Well, you get that promotion. You lose the 10 pounds, or you meet the love of your life because you went out to that networking event that that's too many people because you're an introvert. Do scary things. Hang out with people that challenge you. It's important.
Isn't it crazy? Not that either of us are dating experts by any sense, but you've got a
I mean, you
generation.
more so than me. You got a wife and two beautiful daughters. I'm the single guy.
Fair enough. But bro, it's so interesting to me that you've got a bunch of people that are out there single right now, complaining on the internet or complaining to their friends that, man, I don't know where to go to meet people or find anyone, or all men are this or all women are this, and they just overgeneralize. But then their solution is like, I'm gonna go on a dating app and then meet them in a bar. And I'm gonna meet them at my current identity level. That was actually the reason my past partner broke up with me, because I sucked at this, this, and this, and I haven't gotten any better. I haven't changed any of my thinking. I haven't grown as a person. And you can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness at which it occurred. You need to increase your who you are.
Hmm.
So go do something in the mental gym, in the physical gym, in the financial gym. Go better your life. And people think this is foo-foo, rah-rah, whatever, but when you better yourself, it attracts better. So would
Hmm.
you not rather stay single for a little bit and focus on becoming the best version of yourself? And then if having a relationship is important to you, then once you're a better version of yourself, thinking of some more creative ways to meet higher caliber people that fit your standards and your core values and what you want in a partner. So
Yeah,
that's as
because
Dr. Phil as I'll get.
no, it's
For
scary. And honestly, like this is what I'm gonna do right now because I have no problem. I'm an open book. I took Josh's life quote and assessment, so I'm gonna read the relationship one for people. This is what I took. This is mine. So my score's 79. I went in knowing it was gonna be low because I don't have a family or a partner right now. So this is what it said. You're learning the power of intentional presence. This score reflects the work you've done to prioritize your relationships and show up with consistency and care. You've experienced how vulnerability deepens connection, and you felt the peace that comes with resolving conflict with courage. Your relationships are growing stronger because you've chosen to engage, even when it's uncomfortable. Yet alignment requires constant attention. You may still feel tension in certain relationships or notice yourself slipping into old habits of withdrawal or defensiveness under stress. You're aware of these patterns now, and it's a gift. The work now is to protect the connection you've built and continue leaning into practices that sustain healthy relationships. Consider what boundaries you need to strengthen, what conversations you need to have, and where you need to extend grace to yourself and others. Invest in relationships that matter most. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and patient in the process. Your intentionality is building a legacy of connection that will impact your family and community for years to come. So if you are stuck right now, you don't know where to start, specifically in the dating site, this isn't a dating thing. This is about all relationships, family, business, partners. That right there, you do this test, take you 20, 30 minutes or how long it's going to take you. It's going to tell you a lot about yourself and it's free. JoshKosnick.com. That right there is what you're going to get. And then you go, huh, okay. And then go to the places that you like and start talking to people. Could work.
what was your experience, Greg, going through that questionnaire? Was it kind of the same as most surveys where it was just kind of a quick check off the boxes, or was there a level of maybe some deeper thought that went into it?
Yeah, deeper thought on this one. I've taken a lot of different ones. I've taken some very expensive and intuitive ones, and I've done them quickly because I have taken a lot of internal time to work on myself. This one, I still did it relatively quick, but some of the questions did really make me think, just the way they're worded. And some of them were just four-word questions, but they were so impactful that I was like, that's a great question. Yeah, I do that. And then I go on. And yeah, just the way they were phrased was really powerful to me. So just that alone, uh, I'll tell everybody to go take this test.
Absolutely.
What
Because
about
I
you?
feel like, yeah, I feel like that's a common question people will have um, coming out of either reading Josh's book or even just seeing the summary is, well, which of the five bridges, which one's the most important? Uh, having said that, that's going to look different for every person. There's going to be some people that are a little bit higher on the spiritual bridge than they are on the legacy bridge. Uh, or they're better with their relationships than they are with their internal, or whatever the case may be. It's kind of up to you to use tools like this to create an awareness of your strengths and your weaknesses. And similar to you, Greg, it was one I tried to just do like scrolling on the couch at one point, and I got probably a third of the way through it, and I'm like, I'm not giving this thing what I need to give this thing. So I ended up doing it at a later date where I could sit at my desk, uh, and actually just put a notepad in front of me and take the time to think on the questions and jot out a couple thoughts. And like you said, it instead of it being a quick 5 or 10 minute thing that created an AI generated something we already kind of knew about ourselves, it took a little bit longer, but we got something that uh, was a little bit more connected, a little bit more impactful. And um, yeah, I mean, I could read excerpts out of here, but I think yours is pretty solid. I've pulled up to the side so I could read it, but um, I think yours was a pretty good idea for the listener of, hey, here's what you can expect as you go through this. So, but yeah, like I said in the episode with him about his book, even it's just different feelings and different emotions that I don't typically get when going through your standard personal development. And I think it just speaks to Josh's level of vulnerability, his level of intention, his level of commitment to making an impact since that episode, whether it be through his a couple posts he's made on Facebook or a couple of email newsletter letters that I've received. I find almost every time I receive something, I'm screenshotting it and sending it to somebody that I think of. Because he has a way of taking concepts that have already been talked about and adding his flavor that comes from his experience, and it's just so relevant.
Mm-hmm.
It's so uh, and it's all about maximizing your life. So many people I think have it so twisted where they think life's a teeter-totter, where to get this I need to give up this. And I loved with Josh and Nabi that they're both so integrated with what they wanted life to look like, not just like, hey, my business is great, but my relationships suck, or vice versa. I think it's one of the most toxic things in our culture is how much we talk about work-life balance instead of work-life integration.
Hit the nail on the head with that, Coop. I hate work-life balance. Doesn't exist. It's not real. Stop talking about it. Problem with balance is it's always going to have to topple to one side or the other. And I'll leave that there. But talking about the assessment and Josh and Nabi, the one thing that I've been thinking on lots lately, leading up to the conversation with Josh, and it's something I've always looked at is flow. The flow of things, inflow, and Kairos time, Chronos time. When we talked about it with Josh, like it's literally something I've been digging into so much. I've written it down in my journal every day. I've looked at it. And then when we had that conversation with Nabi, it was like the next evolution of it because he talked about his journey and I was compiling, okay, that was when he was in Chronos time. That's when he was in Kairos time. This is such a cool concept. So everybody out there, go Google that or throw it in Chat GPT or Perplexity and ask it to describe what is Kairos time and Chronos time. Better yet, again, I don't want this to be a plug, but it's just so good. Go get the book. But it's two concepts that could help a lot of people really chunk their time and like audit their time going, I do spend a lot of time just chugging along. I'm never really in the flow or in Kairos. So that concept to me has been on my brain. And then when we had Nabi, it just solidified that like, wow, like this is exactly what we talked about when we recorded it the day before. And I'm like, this is so cool. So the last two episodes, the last 2 weeks, Josh's and then Nabi's, like people, if you watch both, watch them both back to back if you have the time. Or take the notes because you'll see that evolution and you'll go, whoa, that's crazy. Because it is such a cool concept and so impactful.
Absolutely. In a future episode, too, I think that's a good spot to wrap in terms of summarizing things for today. But I do think in a future episode, it would be good to cover in your world of performance and my world of finance, where people cost themselves by not being in Kairos time. The lost compound interest, um, the lost compounding of the performance physically or mentally that they're looking to get. Because there's tons of people I sit with from a day to day, and the number one thing that they say is, I wish I started this sooner. And sometimes the reason they didn't start it sooner was lack of education, but sometimes they had the education, they just were so stuck in kind of day to day rat race, grind, head down, trying to get through things, that they couldn't lift their chin up for 30 minutes to just breathe and think. And that's the irony of trying to figure out work-life balance, I find, is that you get so caught in chasing that thing that doesn't exist that you actually miss out on opportunities that could buy your time back. You're so committed to not doing something because you're worried it's going to kind of kilter you a little bit off balance, that not doing that thing actually makes you way more incongruent than what you were striving for, because you missed an opportunity. I think of even just the people the last 3 years in the market, since the market's been flying, and they've taken 2 or 3 years to wait on a decision that's cost them tens, if not hundreds of thousands, and sometimes, depending on the client, millions of dollars, not based on poor strategy, based on lack of execution, because it's just, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy that I can't see that the answer is right here.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I love that concept. My brain's just going now because I'm like, oh, do we have to wrap? Let's take care of it right now. Yeah, no, that's a good cliffhanger to leave it on because it's going to be a great topic to talk on that.
Absolutely. Stay tuned for more, you guys. And Greg and we've got a ton of really cool topics prepped for you guys. It's just stuff that's been on our mind and on our hearts
Mhm.
lately, about being a good dad, being a good friend, being a good business partner, and coming from a place of, hey, we're not talking at you, we're talking with you, because we're still growing, we're still learning, we're still figuring things out too. But in addition to what we have planned, if there's anything you guys would like to hear, send us a message, and we're always happy to take some questions or dive a little bit deeper on a topic. And if you've got anyone in your network that you think could add some value to the show as well, that you've always wanted to hear from, connect them with us as well. And yeah, I can't understate the importance of building out your professional network. Those are two guys, Josh and Nabi, that have no financial stake in us. We have no financial stake in them. Uh, but I know every time we chat with them, our cups are full. And if that's all we can give to one another, that's, to me, a very healthy personal and professional relationship. So appreciate you guys joining us today. And Greg, is there anything you want to close on before we wrap?
No, man, hit the nail on the head. Like, subscribe, share, and we'll see everybody on the next one.
Right on. Take care, guys.